Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Brad Decker, the line developer for 1879, and we are getting fired up with the line developer office hours for the Q&A for our current going Kickstarter. Of course, I have the line's emotional support officer Sonny joining me here. How you doing, buddy? You gotta say hi to everybody. Yep, yep. You get your time on camera. It's up there. There he goes. He's used to me streaming on my personal stuff, so he knows how the camera works. All right, so I do have a couple of questions that had come out. Before I get into the questions, though, I do want to cover thank you so much for all the continued support with the Kickstarter. We are currently past 10,000. We are at $10,429 with 106 backers. So amazing support so far. Thank you so much. We have exceeded our backer count and the funding count from the conclusion of the previous campaign so far. Very gratifying to see that the line is continuing to get out there to reach additional people, and that all of you are enjoying it enough to want to support with us. So thank you very much for that. Please continue to share so we can bring as many people into it and expand things out as much as we possibly can. As of right now, we have 19 days left to go on the Kickstarter, so plenty of time for people to be able to jump in. And if this hopefully this Q&A session helps answer some of the questions you might have. So if there was anything you were kind of holding out on, wanted to take a look at things, you'll have a chance we can cover those questions for you here. So let me go ahead and get into some of the questions that we had. There was a couple that got sent over from Facebook. I don't have the names on these. These were forwarded to me, so apologies for missing the names on here. But I will just kind of read these off in order of what we got here. So by Fast Corporation, so I am guessing an evolution of the game engine from decades old Fast Star Trek. The best logical world building is said to be in those books. This is the same FASA Corporation, FASA Games. We are associated with the old school FASA. There's a lot of people that think that old school FASA is dead, but nope, we are still around. We maintained as a licensed IP holding and then started up creative operations again. The company is owned and operated with Ross Babcock. I speak with him weekly, so yeah, nope, we are definitely still alive. The rumors of our death have been greatly exaggerated. The system for 1879 is not related to old fashioned Star Trek, so a different core step. Different system. We are using the core step mechanic. For those familiar with Earth Dawn, it is the same system that we are. Well, I say the same. It's the same base dice mechanic. There are some differences, slight within the rule set and everything like that. Mostly the differences are setting related. 1879 isn't quite as high on the magic level. We are still low magic. We're just now starting to kind of play through the return of magic to the world as things bring about. We're going through the awakening. This is taking the place of Shadowrun in our cosmology. So we are playing through the awakening. You get to see the return of magic. You get to see the change in the races as the globalization and that sort of thing takes over, and playing through that in the Victorian era, so you get to deal with all of those attitudes and adjustments and cultural connotations. So there's a lot of interest in how things play out there. And also just in terms of how people view magic, how people view the world, that alters their perceptions and changes how things are actually utilized from a magic standpoint. But yeah, so it's back to the original question. Not related to Star Trek mechanic. I do have a lot of Star Trek references in the game in the books, so keep an eye out for those. There's some nice hidden Easter eggs in there. Some obvious, some not quite so much. Second question. I love the idea, but can't find much on the system. So I'll give you a brief run through. I talk about this a lot in different places, mostly on the blog posts that I post. So if you look at our website, facetgames.com, we have blog posts that come out there weekly. I have I try to post them weekly anyway. Sometimes I kind of get backed up with products that are in motion. But yeah, we've got a lot of backlog of different blog posts in there. So if there's a particular subject that you're interested in to take a look at the system, by all means, feel free to look back on those, and also feel free to ask questions in general. But yeah, so again, base mechanic for the system is same as they're done with core step. So everything is based on a step. As you increase in levels, you get better proficiencies. Your step increases. As the step goes up, that increases what dice you're rolling. Dice are open-ended high, so if you max out like an 8 on a d8, you get to roll again, and you add it to the result. So you can get those explosive die results. Things can get very large from there. Uh, Gives you a lot of open-ended possibilities with things, right? Whereas something like a D20 system, it's very closed-ended. You have success, failure, you have your critical success, critical failure on those single die rolls, but there's not a whole lot of nuance in between there. With 1879, with the core step system, you have your failures, you have your critical failures and the down ends, but success can keep going. There's no end point. It continues on and on and on. Every 5 points higher than the target number you get grants you an additional success. Additional successes can be used in various different ways throughout the game. We have those within the rule sets for different skills and spells. For example, if you're just making an attack roll and you get an additional success, that will grant you a bonus on the damage. So you can try to overcome armor the better you're hitting. And as you increase those damage dice, those also are explosives, so can get some really insanely powerful results. But we also include within all of our writing material additional successes. Like say you're investigating into something, and with your evidence analysis or whatever you decide to roll, you get an additional success. Additional successes will grant further information. So just because you succeed doesn't mean you have succeeded as much as you possibly can. There is quite a range of different things. And I have, again, blog posts that talk about how to utilize this mechanic as a GM for being able to get those varying degrees of success. And just so many people are you succeed, you fail, but there's a lot more range and nuance and a lot more flavor in between there. So sometimes it takes a little bit of getting used to kind of come to terms with that within your head. But there is a lot of depth and possibility, and it makes for, I personally feel, makes for a much more rich experience being able to get those varying degrees. Let's see, moving on to the next question. It says, Andrew Lawrence, nope, Victorian England weird science opens a portal to another world, which kind of launches Shadowrun a few centuries early. I'm not familiar with Andrew Lawrence myself. I know he's an author, but I haven't actually seen or read through the materials. But yeah, essentially that's what happens. For the plot line of 1879, there is a weird science experiment that goes awry. It's during a exhibition in the middle of Greenwich Park. The weird science experiment ends up opening a portal to another world. The other world is higher magic, so mana starts to flow through the portal, kickstarts the awakening a few hundred years early. So you're getting all of that return of magic, galvanization of the races, like I mentioned, all that's happening in the Victorian era. And then there is the portal to the other world. When you go through the portal, you encounter the Saurans, who are the native species to the Grove, this other world that is on the other side of the portal. And there are also the Samsut, who are the descendants of the ancient Babylonians and Akkadians. They encountered a naturally occurring portal way back at the fall of Babylon, ended up migrating through to escape, and founded their new civilization in this new world. They encountered an alien technology that they call the Life Giver, which they consider to be a gift from their gods, that allows them to directly translate mana and energy, like physical energy, back and forth. Among other things, they use this to resurrect the dead, and will use zombies and skeletons for fodder as soldiers, going and doing just different day labor, things that would be hazardous for a living person to do. They'll send a zombie in, or a skeleton, depending on what exactly is going on with it, depending on the situation. We're actually in the process of writing that material. There was existing material, but we were filling that out more and going into further depth with the Sunset source book. That is in progress with our writers, so they are working on that. So if that's something you're interested in, we've got more plan coming for the future. There's a lot more plan to come in there. There was one that came in from Ender Third on our Discord, and this is a little bit of a long one, so I'm going to read all of this out. I've got a question about 1879. I haven't really paid that much attention to it before. Steampunk isn't particularly my thing normally. What level do the game mechanics inherently support PCs playing with national level strategy? The one itch that Earthdawn doesn't scratch for me and isn't trying to is long-term resource allocation, economy, political simulation. Traveler gives me that, and from what I've read, things like Pendragon or Birthright might. The existence of force books and army combat rules implies that I should take a deeper look at 1879. Can I get an idea of what's already out there and what's planned for PC-involved grand strategy in 1879? That was a mouthful to read. So, first off, thank you very much for the question and giving the detail. So, some of this was already addressed in the chat, but just to give a little bit more and give from my response. First, to point out with the references with the Force books that were going on, 1879 has a miniatures combat line. That goes in addition to the role-playing game. So that's where the Force books come from, is for the miniature side of things. The two are related in terms of the setting, but don't consider the books from the Force books from the miniature side to be furthering the campaign with 1879. They are designed to they take place in the same setting. You can use them if you have that intention to do large scale battles. You by all means can utilize them to go back and forth and coordinate that sort of thing if you want to play through it. Or if you want to use the RPG rules to play through a smaller scale combat within the minis line. They are cross compatible as far as utilizing them that way. But the games are designed to work independently of one another. So just because you're playing the RPG, you don't have to also invest in the minis line. Again, feel free to. But we would love it for everybody that uses it to also pick up the minis line. If that interests you. But you don't have to use them in order to get the most out of your role playing game experience. It's entirely dependent upon how you want to play the game and what you want to do at your table. As far as the general question about large political scale, again, touching on what some of the people said in the chat, there are certain things that will kind of play into that. Within the companions, we do have additional rules that will cover being able to manage larger assets. For example, like for nobility and that sort of thing. They would have a large amount of assets to run as far as having the household, all their income, that sort of thing. And essentially what it boils down to is what obligations do they have to maintain the household to keep that running, and then as far as what they would get out of it. Basically, they end up giving themselves a salary, and that's kind of where the rules come from. They have additional funding that they could call upon if they needed to in an emergency. If you watch our 1879 actual play that we also broadcast here on Twitch, and we'll have the recordings on YouTube. I've got a couple backlog that I need to get up. But you run into you really have it come to light. There is a huge difference in terms of funding of what's available to most of the general public and those with nobility and those kind of tie-ins. And there really isn't a whole lot of middle class. It's starting to emerge, and that's probably where a lot of the players are going to start coming into it, unless they are coming from a nobility, in which case they have stupid amounts of money available, which they can just throw around. Not only do you have the title to throw about to try and get some respect, you have some serious coin that you can use to back up things. There's a huge discrepancy in the levels if you're actually playing through things on a more realistic level and dealing with things at that point from how it occurred in history. And that's just realistically how it happened in history. That's not even something that we've made up. Honestly, I can do another one of these. That's always totally fine. going over some of the other general questions specifically about the Kickstarter. And since I'm getting over to the Kickstarter, I do want to show we actually have the products here. I have copies in my hand that I can show off. This is the first time we've ever had a Kickstarter launch where I actually have physical copies in hand prior to when the game launches. So all of these are available here. If anybody's watching it, leaves comments, please, if there's something you want to see, I can flip through here. You can see here's Sword Sourcebook. This is the thickness of the book. I can open up here. I'm trying to do this so you guys can. I don't know if my light's gonna be the best for this. Let's try to flip through here a little bit so you can get a general idea of how things look within the book. I've shown some screenshots of certain things in different places, and we've shown some of the art and that sort of thing in the promotional videos. So yeah, if there's anything in particular that you guys wanted to take a look at or that sort of thing, again, reach out, let us know. Would love to go over those. To show off the maps of London, and I got to be very careful because I don't have a lot of desktop space right in here. My camera is also not the best, so you're probably not going to see a whole lot of this at the full detail level, but I can show off some of the maps. I apologize, my background blurring is blocking some of that. But the maps, let me see if I can get it up close. No, it's not going to focus. That's okay. But the maps are close to detailed enough where you can actually see them at street level. So I can come in here and, some of them are a bit small. I might need a magnifying glass just with my old eyes. But I can actually read the streets. And all of the maps are double-sided. So that was Holborn on the other side, and you can see Islington on the other end for this particular map. We cover all of the districts of London. They are 26, if I remember correctly. Plus we have the 4 charts. The 4 charts will cover the distances between main travel centers for each of the maps, or each of the boroughs. We cover the travel time based off of foot traffic, by vehicle traffic, and by rail. When I say vehicle traffic, I mean both by horse-drawn carriage and going by steam vehicle. Both are present in the game line. At the time, London did put speed limits on the roads of 5 miles an hour. So they were limited. Both horses and vehicles are far capable of going faster than that. So that's definitely something. We're not utilizing the full speed there. And if you were actually to use a vehicle in London, if you're in the middle of a high-speed chase or something like that, you could definitely get somewhere faster than those, assuming you get a clear enough shot with the traffic. As one of our writers, Joel, went over when he was taking a look at things, from the estimates that I went over, I can't remember the exact district he had mentioned, but one of them he had brought up, the travel time showing on the charts was 33 minutes. When he was going through it, said that it was 37. So it's, the traffic is a major concern. So that does definitely happen, and it's not gotten any better, I don't think, from the information I've been told. So there are 2 chart pages. They are back and forth, so one side, other side. This one has the distance side on this end, and the other side has the train travel time. Now, trains were limited to a speed of 25 miles per hour within the city. Again, trains could potentially go faster if there was something that you ever had an adventure where they needed to go faster. They definitely could do that. Again, it's just a matter of keeping the line clear, because that could be a problem. Definitely a concern with just the sheer amount of traffic going on. London's a busy place. It is the place to be in the campaign setting. If people have additional questions on any of the maps they want to see, here, I'll hold up the stack so you can see. This is a good size stack. These are all the different maps that we have. Now, they're folded, of course, but there's quite a bit here. So you can see all of the districts. This is good, thick quality paper. If anybody who's interested in that, it's not going to tear very easily on you. This should hold up for quite a long time. Uh, and the box set, of course, is it has a full leather finish for everything on here. You can see the construction on here. Uh, I've had a lot of different box sets and that sort of things, and these tend to last quite well. Uh, and you can see, of course, the art inside by our own Doggin Higgins. I love how all of his art comes together on these. He's taken over the layout for us on the books as well. And since he has it, it's just turned out phenomenal. I love the look of the book since Don started taking over and doing the layout in-house for us. So, speaking of the maps, going on to one of the questions that comes up very frequently for the digital maps. That's one that's been coming up quite a bit. And believe me, I understand not having a lot of shelf space, being in flux, different living spaces. Trust me, I get it. I was in college. I had that same problem going in my apartment. I still found a way to keep all the books on mine, but I didn't have a problem not having a dining room. So that's just kind of how I was. But no, believe me, I understand a lot. Not everybody has all of the space to be able to add another physical product. We are working on putting together a digital version that is still in flux at the well. I don't want to say in flux, in progress. It will happen eventually. Exactly how it's going to look like and exactly when that's going to happen, I can't give specific details on because it is being worked on. I can tell you we're looking at doing more of an app-based solution rather than simply putting out PDFs of the maps. Several reasons for that. One of the main reasons being that the level of detail of the maps that you have to get down to, we can't necessarily put that in a PDF format and keep it in a something that's easy to deal. Oh, excuse me. Something that's very easy to deal with the sheer number of them. Just in terms of the management side of things, it's just going to get really unwieldy if we try to put them all in PDFs. So we want to do this as more of an app-based solution to be able to go over. We'll have all the waypoints. Also trying to get it so you could set custom waypoints. So if you wanted to include specific details for things that happen within your campaigns. Your party has a particular tavern you made up that you wanted to be able to go back to. You're setting up for murder investigations and you want to mark where all of the different crimes are. You can do that and just make that your utility function within. So the different things we're looking on doing. Again, I can't give any specifics on what that's going to look like right at the moment, but that is what we're working on. That's the intention going forward. We will have more details on that as we get to that particular point. But that is all. That's where our minds are. That's what we're trying to head to. The specifics on how that's going to come to, we'll have more details to come. As far as the release times, I saw some comments about that. As you can see, both products are fully done. I have physical copies in hand. They are complete. So we don't have to worry about layout. That's finished. We don't have to worry about commissioning art. That's done. We don't have to worry about the editing or anything like that. All of that is completely finished. What we do have to worry about, this is our sample initial print run. We will have to worry about some physical copies getting generated. Obviously, we have to go through that whole process when we do the full run, and we do have to worry about shipping with the physical product. As far as the digital product is concerned, once the campaign closes, we go through the final paperwork, all the funding gets transferred, and then everything gets uploaded. So PDFs, anything digital, will be available almost immediately. Again, as of right now, that consists of Sword Sourcebook for PDFs. We don't have the digital end for the Maps of London just yet. That's still in progress. If we can get it done before the campaign, we will definitely let you know that. If that's going to take longer, we will announce that as we get closer. Again, that's in flux. We will have more information on that as it comes out. But as far as PDFs for Sword Sourcebook, that will be available pretty much as soon as the campaign closes and all the paperwork clears out. And then as far as the physical products are concerned, it goes to printing, it goes through shipping. Shipping, of course, internationally is always a nightmare, and this plagues us continuously. Uh, Unfortunately, it's nothing that's within our control, really. Uh, just having to go through all the various different channels where everything gets shipped from. Things got to come over the boat, then it's got to go out to the individual ones. Believe us, I see the messages that come through regularly, people asking about various different countries and where things are and all of that. Believe me, we're just as frustrated by it as you guys. Not as much on the 1879 side, mostly on the Arcton side, because there's, and I think that's just in terms of sheer volume, where I see a lot of those coming up. Just the number of people waiting on Arcton products to get sent out, just because of the number of orders that come through, and the large international audience that Arcton has. But we see it, we're aware of it. Believe us, we're pushing everything we possibly can on our side. Uh, but we're shipping it, we're getting things turned around as much as we possibly can. It's just a matter of the difficulties of how the world is functioning right now with all the international shipping, and this is across the board. It's not just us. It's industry wide. It's honestly worldwide as far as how hard it is to get things shipped internationally right now. Uh, We'll go into all the details as to why. I'm sure most of you are aware. You at least have a basic understanding of the general news of global events and things that occur there. Uh, but yeah, believe me when I say we are doing everything we possibly can to make sure your products get to you. Uh, if there's ever anything where you have specific questions on your order, things that need to change, you're just looking for updates or that sort of thing, please send us a message. The best way to do it is through our website, fastagames.com. We have a Kickstarter contact form. There's a link for it on the front page of fastagames.com. That's the easiest method, best method for us internally to be able to see that. Well, we may see things come through from other sources, and we'll address those as we can. It very easily can get lost in the kerfuffle and shuffle of things. Whereas if it comes through the Kickstarter contact form, you fill out all your form information, it comes through as an email, and it's pre-formatted to tell us what campaign it's for. Because you fill all that information out, it gives us the highlight reel of what we need to be able to get the information to you faster. Sometimes we do delay on that. Not always. It's generally not because we're not looking at it, we're not aware of it, that sort of thing. It's generally because we're waiting for additional information to be able to give you an actual answer. So if you send an email and we forget about it, please feel free to send out the message other ways. Sometimes people will see other things, and by all means, feel free to message us on Discord directly. That is the best method to be able to communicate with us, back and forth. I've more than once I have answered questions for people while they had a game ongoing, just to cover a rules question or different possibilities for things. So yeah, that's very common from there. I personally can't answer a lot of the shipping questions if those do come up, so do bear that in mind. But I can forward it over to the people who can, and obviously they will respond as fast as they are able. And again, bear in mind, most of us aren't paid for anything that we're doing here. We all have day jobs that we have to deal with, so again, just bear that in mind. We want to help, we want to get you the products, we want to see you play the games, but we do have real life we have to deal with. So again, just bear with us. We want to respond. We want to get you the best information possible. Sometimes we delay simply because we literally do not have the time to be able to get the answer out to you, or we don't have the information to be able to give you an answer. But listen, just message us if there's ever any questions on things, and we will respond as best as we possibly can. Going on to the last item I had prepped ahead of time here is stretch goals. I haven't seen people asking about stretch goals just yet, but considering we are past $10,000, it is the time to start talking about that. From our last meeting that we had on 1879, we are planning on doing another medal. That's typically what we do for the 1879 campaigns. We like to do the medals and have those as something so they look like military medals that we design. I actually have a vest that I use for Gen Con that I put them on. They are it's a unique item. There's not a whole lot of people who I actually don't think there's any other campaigns I've ever seen that actually does a medal like that. We do them at they're great showing off at Gen Con because they're very eye catching because you don't see that. And then we have the collection of them. If you backed a lot of the campaigns or you pulled a lot of the stuff from there to be able to get a hold of the old medals, and they are limited edition. We don't once we're done with the initial run, that's it. So they are limited. Uh, to do a physical product, there are additional costs and things that get set in with there. From our last campaign, Ross wants to make that goal at 20K. So $20,000, a little less than double where we are right now. We'd be able to make a medal available. It's mostly dependent upon the number of backers who would be interested in picking up a physical product. So if you are even if you are a digital only backer, even if you are a physical backer and you are interested in picking up a medal, if that is something that you would like to see, please make that known. If there are additional backers, that's really where it is. It's in terms of the backer number. It's hard to predict it based off of the backer count when we're trying to do it based off of funding level. If we can get enough people expressing interest in picking up the medals, I might be able to convince him to lower the point for that, the price point for getting that one, and then we would have that available for something else to do if we do manage to hit 20K. There's a couple of fun ideas, but I do want to hear back from you as well. What sort of things from stretch goals would you be interested in seeing? Is there anything in particular that you want us to make? Again, physical products incur additional costs, so we are somewhat limited in some of those, but we will take those under consideration for future campaigns. The living the dream goals. We always have the dream big goals to see if we can manage to hit, get a massive audience and manage to really break loose, different things that we can do. As the game continues to grow, and it seems like we really are, based off of the numbers that we're seeing here, we are continuing to grow forward. If we can continue to pick up steam, we grow faster, we get more funding going. That opens up a lot of possibilities. We can do a lot of different things. So please voice those. What are you interested in? I want to hear what you want. I want to know what you're interested in for the line. Okay, so without there being any additional questions on here right now, I am going to go ahead and get the stream wrapped up. But again, the door's open. Please continue to reach out. Leave us comments on the Kickstarter campaign. We will have on the YouTube video, we will have the link in the description. Please message us on Discord. Again, we have the link for our Discord chat. That's on Twitch on the chat right there. I will also post that on YouTube. And just any of the other methods that you see. You see my blog posts, wherever. Send us messages. Let us know what you want. If you have questions, different things you want to talk about. Just different weird history stuff. There's so much weird history that I find going into stuff for this game. But I am starting to ramble, so that is going to do it for today. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and thank you very much. We will see you guys next time.